We are hearing that full clean bill of health. Doris could be back, Aki, and a number of others. Where do you feel, I suppose a broader question, this Ireland side is at under Andy Farrell? A lot of guys coming back from the Lions, 16 in total, I suppose.
A lot of guys coming back from the Lions. Obviously, you've got Andy coming back as head coach. He missed the last year. I think Six Nations was good without being great for them. So they're definitely, we're at a very clear, distinct point in time after a Lions tour and you're 2 years out from a World Cup, that this is a real rebuilding time. And I think coaches will often look at this as a bit of an inflection point in every 4-year cycle. So they will definitely have to have an eye on the future. They've got to start blooding new players. But there's sort of, I don't think there's any getting away from the fact that, this team is going to be a little bit undercooked going into the game. They're coming up against a team who's, very battled hardened, played an awful lot of test match rugby in the Rugby Championship this year. So, I think it's fair to say that we're probably not favourites going into it. But then I look back at 2016 and the game we played against there, we were very undercooked. We weren't favourites going into it. So, there's elements of it that, you can draw some synergies between the last game, but that's why we love sport, isn't it? Because you just never know what's going to happen on the day. And, there will be a large amount of Leinster players in this team at the weekend, and they'll have gotten a real kick up the backside in that game a few weeks ago, which, I think could probably stand to both Andy Farrell and the team.
It seems the wider public want change. I even spoke to Kearney last week about this, and every time there's an Ireland squad announced of 34 players, in my opinion, there's not too many guys on the outside thinking they're unlucky to miss out. So is that just the reality of things? We have a smaller pool of players and we're picking the best of what we've got. Do you think anyone's hard done by, or is it just people sometimes want something different that's not quite there?
Yeah, listen, I think this Irish team generally seems to pick itself more often than not.
And do you agree with that?
Yeah, I do, to be honest, because I think Andy Farrell and the coaches, by and large, pick the best team available every single time. Now you look at the sort of the age profile of the whole group, and you think, okay, there's some positions, there's some players who in 2 years' time are going to be, pushing on a little bit, and are they going to still be able to play at the same level they are now? So you do have to start blooding a few younger guys. But Stu, I think if we're being really honest about it, there's not too many younger players who, have forced their way into the team with really good performances or are putting their hand up. Okay, so yeah, in the backs you can say, Tom Farrell has been unbelievable for Munster this year. I think rightfully he's been added to the squad now, but the fact that he wasn't in the initial squad would insinuate that he's not really too much in their plans. Tommy O'Brien's performed very well. He'll get a chance this weekend now because Mac is out. Jamie Osborne has done well. He'll get a chance. And then, if you look in the pack, there's probably not too many guys who are jumping out in terms of, coaching.
Michael Milne may be a bit unlucky, but I know what you're saying.
Yeah, definitely unlucky not to make the squad, of course. But in terms of that, you take the likes of, Ryan Baird now, who could potentially start this week, depending on where Tig plays. But he's not a player who's been banging the door down saying you have to find a spot for me somewhere in the team because I'm playing so well.